Two walks are like me, you go pick and choose. I seen those features to get in the loop. Push to they pointed like Tupac and Juice. They got sick of the running and picked up the dudes. Lobo gon' make niggas shaking they boots. Looking like Ricky when they in pursuit. I got a dream that I'm trying to pursue. If it feel I'm like Biggie, just give me the loot. Megatron, bitch, I'm a villain. Pressure on to make a killing. Leprechaun, green to the ceiling. Put 6 dots up on your head, now you krillin'. Double cross me from the game, you forbidden. Never a way that you gon' be forgiven. Weapons draw, now blood is spilling. This happens every damn day to earth spinning. Talk to my demons, they got me believing that I'ma go crazy like I'm Majin Buu. I'ma just go right through anyone in front of my money and everything I'm trying to do. But they can't stop me. These niggas don't like me. These niggas is whack and I feel like I knew. Some of them, they just be blind to the fact cause they mans got some up and they don't have a clue. I'ma just leave all these little niggas hurt. All you gotta do is just mention me first. Niggas be mad cause they making this dirt and be me cause I put all these beats in the hearse. They like the way I be going berserk. Try be like me but they putting in work. Talking on Twitter, I'm thinking they birds mention me and I bet you my niggas gon' hurt. Niggas, they knew I was different since birth. You not 100, don't like to converse. Niggas be bitches should put on the skirt. We send you to the doc, we send you to the nurse. Creeping good luck cause I stay on alert. Finish the nigga and one is for sure. Get to the line and I'm finna convert. You not eating, you niggas save room for dessert. Hate is contagious, but I got the antidote. Popping they top like I opened the can of coke. If niggas ever forget and they think I'm in last, I'll drop 50 just like I'm Leangelo. I make your bitch come right out of her pantyhose. Niggas run up and these niggas on panic mode. Ripping these beats on my words highly flammable. 007 to my fucking animal.
All right. What is up, everybody? It is KRAD7435 here. I'm back at it with another good boxing live stream, post-fight reaction, chop session for you guys. I'm going to be breaking down the post-fight live results of Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Luis King Kong Ortiz. And it's going to be a flame show because I have a lot to say. This will also be uploaded to the podcast down in my description below. Please go check me out over at Red Circle Podcasting. That's also a very good platform that I've been doing, and I continue to keep on grinding for you guys. So yeah, let's get right into it. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and TWT, and shout out to all the hardcore boxing fans out there that care about the real justice of the sport. So let's get right into it, man. We have a lot of great fights to cover. I'm going to be talking about the preliminaries leading up to the main event, and yeah, I can't wait. So yeah, let's talk about Mr. Oscar Perez versus Anthony Cuba. This fight, I really thought that this fight was almost a Oscar Perez victory. But before I get to that, salute to Star Destroyer 809. Thank you for coming by. He said, I've been all right, just chilling, playing Warzone. Yeah, that's good, man. Like, I hope everything's, going well for you. And, sooner than later, like, I'm gonna, be posting up, like, my Warzone content soon. Like, I've been trying to find, like, a proper way to, like, live stream, like, my gameplay and try to get rid of, like, the lag. But, other than that, I'm just trying to get that taken care of, and then hopefully, I could give you guys more content because I do like posting my Warzone, stuff. So I'll be sure to give you guys that, you know, soon. But yeah, let's talk about Oscar Perez versus Anthony Cuba. I didn't watch the full fight. I don't think it was aired, but I did see some like social media clips here and there of people saying that Oscar Perez arguably won the fight, and I would probably have to agree. Only for the sake of um, I thought Anthony Cuba, he looked pretty decent, but it really showed that Oscar Perez, he had higher levels above, Anthony Cuba. I think Perez, he's a live dog in the lightweight division, in which I'm going to talk about sadly, the Jose Valenzuela fight, which I wasn't too happy about, but we will chop that up real soon. But as far as Oscar Perez's performance, he did pretty good. I thought Oscar Perez, he could have won this fight. Anthony Cuba, he's a good fighter, but I think now we're starting to see that PBC's really starting to match him up tough now. He's had some pretty good, decent victories. He was on, every single one of his fights were on PBC cards, so it's not like Anthony Cuba is not a unknown up and coming rookie fighter. He has skills. It's just that he really needs to start working on adjusting the levels, and I think that's where the detriment of his adversity will come in. Starter Shore said, "I missed this fight." Yeah, I'm gonna break it down. The main event was amazing. Not so sure of it being pay per view. I think that's kind of like the more difficult portion of how I really saw this fight going down. But other than that, I mean, it's definitely worth watching the fight. And I had a lot of I literally had a lot of fun watching King Kong fight Ortiz, and that's gonna definitely go down as a heavyweight classic. Stratashore says, "I can't wait for Canelo versus Triple G." Yeah, I can't. I'm not really too into that fight, but I think Triple G, he's gonna be inside Canelo's head. I think Canelo. This is gonna show if Canelo is either gonna go back into the fighting the upper echelon, or if Triple G, if he comes in with something different that Canelo will struggle against. It might be a bad night. I don't know. I think Canelo's gonna stop Triple G. I think Triple G's age is just gonna catch up to him, and it's just gonna show that Triple G, he's not like the same guy anymore. And I think especially in his last fight against who was that one fighter, Ryota Murata, right? I thought Murata could have beat Triple G, but I think the problem was is that Triple G, he had great pressure coming into that fight, and I think his power saved him. So who knows? I mean, if Triple G actually upsets Canelo Alvarez, that's going to be very interesting. I just don't know how that fight's gonna play out. I think Canelo should get the victory, but knowing that he got obliterated by Bivol, I think now he's gonna start being a lot more cautious going in the inside, try to mix it up with Triple G, because I don't know if I don't know if people are not seeing this, but Canelo's legs are not holding up as he used to hold them up back in his prime. So now I'm starting to believe Canelo, he's not going to be as durable as he once was, because all that you know basically excluding from the whole computer situation that he's been caught with the drug test failures. But I think based off of the physicality of the age factor that's haunting on Canelo, I think his durability of his size is starting to get up on him, because when you look at the weight discrepancy, when Canelo cuts weight, he's actually looking a lot bigger in the weight cut. So I think Canelo's going to be looking a lot less. Um, how should I say? He's going to be looking a lot less fresh coming into the weight cut, because it's he's quote unquote a big guy now, but it's like when you look at how much weight he's really cutting, I don't think Canelo's really made for super middleweight anymore. I think Canelo, he should just stay at 175 if he wants to go ahead and get a rematch in with Bivol. But I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting to see what Canelo's going to look like coming into the weigh-in with Triple G. Starter Shore says, I think Canelo will win and go on to Bivol. But man, I'll be honest, Bivol, he's a great boxer. His defense is amazing. Yeah, Bivol, he's a dog. He's an absolute killer. I think Dimitri Bivol is one of the best pure boxer punchers, but he has amazing pure boxing ability to the point where not a lot of people can mess with him. And people think Bivol don't got power, but Bivol naturally keeps his opponents away from him because he has amazing punch accuracy placement to the point where his boxing ability gives everybody problems. And the biggest thing that I'm going to see from Bivol coming in with Zerto is that if he hurts Zerto, and he shows why Canelo couldn't do what he normally does to his opponents, I think it's game over. I think Bivol, he's in like he's going to beat the living crap out of Zerto, and I think Zerto, he's gonna get I think Zerto might get stopped in that fight. Or Bivol, he's just gonna outpoint him, but he's gonna brutally hurt Zerto, where he's gonna knock him down a couple times. Hey, how's it going, Bruce Gas? Please go subscribe to Bruce Gas Boxing, Jazz, and More. Very good channel. Thank you for coming by. Uh, yeah, let's talk about the other fight. Yeah, like I thought Anthony Cuba could have lost that fight. Obviously, this is like the second draw that he's had so far in his career. His first draw came from the hands of Diego Elizondo. Um, decent fighter. Not the greatest fighter out there, but he's 4-2 right now with one draw on his record, or actually no, three draws. Sorry, but he just recently beat Aaron Perez. That was back in October of last year. But yeah, I mean he's decent. He's not like the greatest fighter out there, but like I said about Mr. Anthony Cuba, I don't think Cuba really possesses enough skills yet to really show enough separation in his fights. He really needs to start working on his defense a lot more. I think that's going to be a really big problem for him, because if he does get hit more, I could very well see him get knocked out very quickly. I just don't think that how PBC is moving him is like the right way. I think they're matching him up with like very extreme rookie level competition, which is good. It's not bad, but it's like when you look at the development of how much better he's getting. um I think Cuba, he's really phasing himself to be reliant off of what the judges are going to give him. And I don't think that's a good thing to do. You really need to start working on your boxing ability. And I think Cuba, he'll end up becoming a better boxer if he focuses more on pure boxing rather than trying to get a knockout victory, because he did get a recent knockout victory over Oscar Acevedo on the Charlo Castaño 2 card. But Oscar Acevedo, he's not that good of a fighter. Well, actually, yeah, he was 7-0 coming in. Like he was undefeated coming into that fight. Sorry, but still, I mean, Cuba, just by looking at his development, he has like a lot of work to do. And I think this would be like the proper time frame for him to, just find opponents that are just as good as you and just keep building up off of the style. But yeah, that's how I see it with that fight. Let's talk about the the Anthony Garnica versus Juan Antonio Lopez fight. This was a very difficult fight for me to call, because I thought Juan Antonio Lopez could have won this fight. Anthony Garnica, he's an okay fighter. He's 22 years old. He's 9-1 out of his entire career, or actually no. I think that could be wrong. Hold on, let me take a look at that real quick. I think he's either undefeated or he has one loss on his record. But he's an okay fighter. He's not that good. He's a 10-0 fighter with 5 knockouts out of his whole entire career. 5'8" Orthodox fighter out of Oakland, California. This is his 10th consecutive straight victory. He only had one draw out of his entire career against Jose Rodriguez Saldana. And yeah, I thought either way, like this fight was very close. I didn't really think he won this fight. I thought Mr. Juan Antonio Lopez got the victory, but it just kind of made me think that the politics kind of favor Garnica, because he is like a PBC type of fighter. Well, I'm not too sure. I think it was just more like the politics kind of played into his favor. But Garnica, he's okay. I'm not really too high on any of these West Coast fighters until they start like stepping up the opposition to see how good they are. But I thought Garnica lost this fight. I didn't think he really won that fight against Juan Antonio Lopez. But that's very much how I thought about that. Let's move on with the next fight. We got Charles Martin versus Devin Vargas. Charles Martin had an explosive fourth round knockout victory. It was a TKO victory, quote unquote, against Devin Vargas. Martin didn't look that bad. He's a decent fighter, but I'm not sold on Charles Martin. I mean, Charles Martin, great heavyweight, former world champion, has a pretty decent, to subpar resume. But I think after the Joshua loss and the Adam Kaunaki and Luis King Kong Ortiz losses, that really just set him back so far. And uh, I don't I don't know, man. I just don't see the flame in him anymore. But maybe he can make a comeback. It's good that he got a victory. So now it's like, where does he go now? Does he just re-step it back up to fight some, top 10 heavyweight? I think him and Dillian White would make a good fight, or him and Derek Chisora, because I think that's a good fight as well. So I think that's like the proper route to see Charles Martin back up on top, because he could easily pick up a title in the heavyweight division if all the belts get vacated between Usyk and Fury. But I don't see that fight happening. I think Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz Jr. They're gonna end up getting these titles, and it's probably going to be a battle of undisputeds, because now that Andy Ruiz had beat Luis King Kong Ortiz, which I'll get to later, it now makes me think that the real fight that everybody wanted to see will start to be made next between him and Deontay Wilder, if Wilder is successful against Robert Helenius. But Charles Martin, great victory, amazing performance, and can't wait to see what he does next. So yeah, let's get right into Mr. Joey Spencer versus Kevin Salgado. Look, man, I'm not too sold on Kevin Salgado, but Kevin Salgado, I don't think he's that good. I think he's garbage. I think he's a trash fighter, but I did not really appreciate his performance, because he really thought he's like the hyperactive fighter out there, and he thought he was gonna beat Joey up and actually destroy him. But Joey, he actually showed a lot. He actually showed a lot of separation in this fight. Nothing really spectacular from him. It was a great performance, and looking at the division, Joey really put himself out there. This is a very, very good victory. I was very happy seeing the improvements from Joey Spencer. I don't like the fact that his father is training him. I don't think his father is a good trainer. I mean, he's decent, but he's really not that good of a trainer, in my honest opinion. I think the way Joey fights now, it's a very like medium to like mediocre style that would very well get him knocked out by any of the top 25 super welterweights in the world. But looking at the division, Joey really needs to keep away for now against Charles Conwell, which I think Charles Conwell would eat Joey Spencer up alive and very well destroy him. And he needs to keep away from Ismail Villarreal. I think Ismail Villarreal, for those of you that don't know him, he's a killer. Has a lot of power in both hands. Just recently destroyed LaShawn Rodriguez on the Danny Garcia undercard. That was a good fight while it lasted, but he just absolutely destroyed him. It just broke his life away. Um, I think that's a very good fight in the future for Joey to fight. I personally want to see him and Xander Zayas fight each other. I think Xander Zayas, he's a good fighter for what he did recently. He definitely gave Elias Espadas a tough war, but I think if Xander came in the way he did in his previous fight before that, in which I forgot who he fought. Let me take a look at that real quick, because I'm almost positive he fought. Who did he fight? Oh yeah, he fought Quincy Lavalle. If he fought the way he did with Quincy, I think Xander can stop Joey. But I don't think it's gonna go. I don't think it's going to end up being like a knockout. It's gonna it's gonna be a very competitive decision. That's gonna probably be a split decision. But I think Joey, he's gonna lose to a split decision with Xander. But if Xander If he gets clipped by Joey, I think Joey can easily stop Xander, but it's going to be a very difficult fight to see where Xander will scale with Joey, because now that Joey, he has a pretty decent name under his resume. For him defeating a guy like Kevin Salgado, now it now it's really showing where Joey's going to be at in the in the near coming future. Um, I think Joey should go ahead and fight either Xander Zayas. He should fight Brian Mendoza. He could fight Brian Sabayo, which that's a very difficult fight. Like, these guys are not easy opponents, but I think maybe him and Jorge Cota, that would be a good fight, or Patrick Teixeira. I think Joey can easily beat these guys. I don't think their skill set will hold up late game, but it's going to be a very interesting fight. But I wouldn't mind like the Ismail Villarreal fight, even though that's a very difficult fight. I think Ismail Villarreal and Xander Zayas, they're going to be on a collision course very soon, and then I want to see Joey fight Jamonte Clark. I think Jamonte Clark, that's going to be the biggest fight out of Joey's entire career. Where if he can hurt Joey, or if he could outbox him to make the fight extremely hyper competitive, then Joey, he's in like a load of trouble. So I think that's going to be a very interesting, stylistic matchup. But another good fight for Joey, and you guys may think I'm crazy, but I think a great fight for Joey Spencer would be against either Kyle Agarco or Suleiman Sissoko or Lucas Santa Maria. I was gonna say maybe Brian Perella, because Brian Perella, he's a very very good lanky southpaw, but he actually knows how to work work around his jab and make the fight very difficult, where Joey can't really get in. And I think where Joey's going to end up failing is that when somebody hits him to the point where they hurt him, that's where Joey's ring IQ will be tested against a pure boxer puncher. And I think that's really where the level of skill level will be tested now. But great victory with Joey Spencer defeating Kevin Salgado. I thought Joey Spencer could have done more in this fight to make the fight a little bit more easier for Joey. But I think Joey, he took his time. He looked very poised. He looked very relaxed, and he made the fight his fight. He actually really improved a lot in this fight compared to his last fight that he had against some unknown guy by Rashvan Huda Nazarov, who was going to fight Xander Zayas on the June 11th card, in which Xander got sick. But either way, it's a very, very good fight, because now it's really going to show how much better Joey's going to be. Because now that Joey, he has some decent leeway in the division, it's now going to offer a lot more difficult fights on the table. But I think what Joey needs to do, he needs to find the right opponent that's going to give him more rounds, and for him to evolve his boxing technicality. So I think Spencer, he's gonna get the job done, at the top of the super welterweight division. But it's gonna be very interesting to see where his ceiling will be coming into the near future. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Congratulations to Joey. We'll probably see him back in the ring very soon. I'd like to say hopefully by December. I think December would be like the proper time frame. But I would like to see Joey fight Xander Zayas or fight somebody else, because now that he was active, I think this is the proper fight to be made between Joey and Xander. If they could have that fight made, let's just say on a December, because Xander, he's probably going to come back very soon, because he just fought back in August. So probably see him back in November or December. But I think that's what's probably going to end up happening. But yeah, we'll find out, and I'll keep you guys updated with who they will fight. But yeah, let's talk about the next fight with Ruiz, the Beast, Alim. I think that's his nickname, right? Yeah, Ruiz. You know, the B Salim. That's what they call him. Yeah. But yeah, Raisa B. Salim, he beat the crap out of Mike Plania. Oh my God, this is a mental beatdown. Mike Plania got his butt whooped, and oh my God, you Filipinos got exposed. But man, oh man, Muskegee, Michigan, we got a problem. And Raisa Salim, um, yeah, he's a problem, man. Raif Salim, he's actually a very dangerous fighter at the super bantamweight division. I don't care what anybody says. Raif Salim, he's already ready for like a world title. He should have been granted his opportunity a lot sooner. But dude, this fight was an absolute banger. He beat the crap out of Mike Plania. Mike Plania he got his ass whipped. Oh, he got whipped. He got whipped like a slave on the boat. Oh man, he destroyed this Asian. But man, oh man, what a absolute monstrous performance by Rais Salim. He gave this guy the toughest fight out of his entire career. And man, Rais, he is the truth, like Errol Spence. But let's talk about this fight. I thought this fight was extremely competitive in the first round or two, but then leading up until the 10th, it was an absolute blowout. Rais Salim just annihilated Mike Plania. I thought this fight could have gone either way because, don't get it twisted. Mike Plania, he can hit, but he's not that much of a puncher where he actually lands that big shot on you. So Mike Plania, very very good fighter. I don't have anything rude to say about him. I think the biggest problem that I have against him is that like he doesn't have that much of a good defensive style. His style was always front foot forward, but never learning how to fight backwards. And I think that was the biggest takeaway from this fight, where Rais Salim came into this fight extremely calm and collected, but he gave Plania a very difficult puzzle to solve because Rais Salim was just forcing him to his back foot, but he wasn't able to hurt Rais to push him back. So this fight really showed a lot of levels, and I think Rais Salim, very very similar to Errol Spence in a way, he just used a very good style to give Mike Plania a very difficult puzzle to solve. But now, if I'm not mistaken, this fight really puts him in position to get a world title shot, in which I'm hoping it's very soon because he wasn't active for almost a entire year, which I found this very weird. I don't know why Rais Salim did this, but he had a 10 round majority decision victory against Eduardo Baez, in which he won the fight. This was back in November, but ever since then, he literally took 10 months off, leading up to Mike Plania to fight him. And I'm like, why would you do that? Because out of that entire 2021 back in November, you could have fought any of the other guys just to stay busy. You could have fought Tacoma, Tacoma, whoever, Inoue. He could go after, I don't know, maybe Carlos Castro. Like I don't know why he would I don't know why Rais would just take that much time off, unless he was probably waiting up on what the WBO was like, either the WBO or WBA or whatever sanctioned body that he was ranked high in, to give him the opportunity to become like a mandatory. But it's like, if you're not going to be called up as a mandatory, then why wait that long? You should have just been back inside of the ring just to keep your skills sharp. But it's like, I don't know why Ray did that. Hey, salute to I am Trill Will. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate you. Please go subscribe to I am Trill Will. Thank you for coming through. Um, but yeah, I thought Rais Salim looked amazing. He dominated, Mike Plania. It was an absolute beatdown, and I thought Plania, he looked like he had no business being in the ring with Rais Salim. This fight definitely could have been stopped a lot sooner, and I thought this fight really showed a lot of holes in Mike Claudia's game, where he really wasn't as sharp as he used to be. And I don't know. I think it just really showed a lot of difference in the ability of what Mike Plania was able to do versus Rais Alim. He just basically nullified everything that Plania was good at, and he just absolutely dog walked him. But it was a very good fight. I had like a lot of fun, watching the fight. I kind of felt like that. The fight could have been stopped pretty early if Rais Salim wanted to, knock him out. But Rais Salim, he did what he wanted in that fight. I really wish that he could fight MJ next after this fight. I think him and MJ should really have that fight mandated because now that I think about it, if he could beat MJ, and after that, if he's able to unify with Stefan Fulton for undisputed, I think that makes a lot better sense on the business side because it's like, why would you want Rais Salim to just get his one and only title shot against Stefan Fulton, which is a very good fight. But the problem is like if he loses that fight, it's like that's gonna hold him back a lot further. But it's like if I'm Rais Salim, let me go after MJ because he's like the easier target. So I think that the best fight to make for Rais Salim's career would be going after Murjan Akhmadaliev because Akhmadaliev he's a very very good fighter, but the problem is that he's never been in there with a guy like a guy like Rais Salim. So if Ahmad Aliyev, if he wants to take that challenge to fight, Alim, I would go after it because Alim, I think his style is all wrong for Merjan Ahmad Aliyev. But if that is a fight that could be made, cross promoted between PBC and DAZN with Matchroom Boxing, I'm all for it. I think that Rais Salim, he should go after the easier target in Akhmadaliev, and then if he's able to destroy him, then go after Fulton. Because I just don't think undisputed would be a lot easier between Fulton and Akhmadaliev. It's not like MJ he's afraid of Fulton. I don't think MJ he's ducking any smoke, but it's like if I'm MJ and if I want to go for undisputed, I would go after Fulton. But it's like if you have nothing going on to make that fight happen with Fulton, go for it. But if you can't get the fight made, but you have like a mandatory in Rais Salim, now this is where the conversation is going to be a lot more interesting. Because if Rais Salim, which we could take a look at these rankings right now, and I could tell you guys right now through the WBA 122 rankings right now, because I know Rais Salim, he's ranked in the WBA. But yeah, either way, MJ, he has like a very difficult, decision to make because if I'm MJ, I would go after Cool Boy Steph. It makes more sense in the world for him to go after him. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe MJ he had made a defense against Ronnie Rios, so I'm not so sure if I'm not so sure if he would have any breathing room to probably have like a voluntary defense. But yeah, right now, yeah, like I'm seeing Azat Hovhannisyan being ranked as number one in the WBA. But yeah, Rais Salim, he's actually ranked number 12. But let me take a look at the WBO rankings because I know he's ranked pretty high on that one. Give me 1 second. Yeah, let me take a look at this because the rankings always change consistently. But yeah, we have in the WBO we have Mr. Who we got? Who we got? Who we got? All right, perfect. For the WBO at super bantamweight, we have Luis Neri that's number one in the WBO, and behind him would be Mike Plania, who just lost to Rais Salim. So Rais Salim, he should climb up pretty fast. Yeah, like Rais Salim, yo, they literally have Rais Salim at at number 12 through the WBA and the IBF, but in the WBO they have him ranked number 6, and in the WBC they have him ranked number 8. Like literally, like you got to be kidding me. You have like dude, you have Carlos Castro that's ranked number 5 in the WBC, in which he's a featherweight now. So I don't know why they're doing this. It's like that doesn't make any damn sense. But Yeah, I don't know how PBC is going to move this, move that direction with Raees Salim. I think the time is now. I think the sanction bodies, which whichever one comes first, should go ahead and get Raees Salim his title shot. I personally would like to see Raees Salim fight Merjan Akhmadaliev, but the problem with that is that you know he's not ranked top 10. He's basically a top 15 fighter at number 12 through the WBA and the IBF. But if the opportunity seeks itself to be made between him and Stefan Fulton, that's going to be a very difficult fight for him to win because, like, as much as I like, oh shit, as much as I like Stefan Fulton, I just don't see Raees Salim having a easy fight with him because Fulton, he's a very fluid boxer puncher, and what you see out of him is that Fulton possesses enough ring IQ where Raees Salim's not going to do the things that he wants to do against Fulton. So his only path to victory is that you have to hurt Fulton to the body, and you need to dog walk him to the corner. And if Fulton, if he's able to keep Alim off of him, which that's going to be the biggest problem because he only, he's only had 8 knockouts throughout his entire career. That's going to be a very difficult task. But now with Raees Salim, who has more knockouts than Fulton with 12 KOs out of his entire 20 fights, I think Raees, he will be the player in this entire fight to have more knockout power than Fulton. But the problem still remains is that if Fulton, if he's able to keep this fight on the outside and he's able to outbox Raees Salim, which that's going to be the very difficult thing to do because Raees Salim, he's a bona fide power puncher. So I don't I don't know how this of like I don't know how this fight will play out. I think Alim, he will have a slight edge over Fulton, but knowing how Fulton is, I just don't see this fight being as easy compared to some other fights that we've seen out of Fulton and Raees Alim. So I'm pretty sure that's something that the PBC will probably make very quickly because if Fulton, if he can't get undisputed with MJ, then he's very well going to probably end up fighting Naoya Inoue, which I think that's probably going to end up happening in the future. But I would like to see undisputed be made, and then Raees Salim, he could get the winner sometime in the future, or I don't know, man. I think PBC, they're probably going to try working something out to have Fulton fight Raees Salim because Raees Salim, I personally don't want to see him be aged out because he's 32 years old, so he has pretty much like a good amount of time left, but it's time for him to like get a title shot like right now. So that's very much how I see it, man. It was a great performance that he did against Mike Plania, and it's going to be interesting to see where he is coming into the following 2022 to 2023 year. So great performance, great fight, and moving on with the next fight with Dominican phenom fighter Edwin De Los Santos out of the Dominican Republic, defeating the very first ever, um, you know, like highlighted PBC fighter with Jose Valenzuela. He was former, he was the, he was a former, undefeated fighter, leading up to last night. He got knocked out. Well, it was more of like a referee stoppage in which I thought the fight was ended too early. But Edwin, he dominated Jose Valenzuela. This was a very, very difficult fight. I thought Jose Valenzuela had all the wrong style to come in with that fight, and De Los Santos just obliterated Jose Valenzuela. This is a fight that I actually was a little bit leery of. I actually thought Jose Valenzuela could have had a style to beat Santos, but I wasn't thinking that this fight was going to go to a knockout, of which Jose Valenzuela was going to be more hurt than Santos. But it was a true 50-50 matchup, and respect to both men giving it their all. But I did not like the fact that Valenzuela came into this fight with no defense. It was a very poor performance because I know that he's a way better fighter than that. And he can be a way better fighter. than this version of himself. I think that if he had more defense coming into this fight, I think he would have stopped Edwin De Los Santos, but it wouldn't be early. It would have been late, or it probably just would have ended up in some knockdowns, and then it probably would have went to the cards because Edwin De Los Santos, he's a very good bona fide boxer puncher. He's a very deadly southpaw. He has a lot of power. A lot of people just kind of like don't really see this out of him, but I've seen it very actively throughout his career. Ever since the William Foster loss, he stopped Luis Acosta, in which he's a bona fide power puncher himself, but he knows how to hit and move. But Santos, he stopped them in 2 rounds, and that was an absolute, demolishment of a fight. And he definitely did what he had to do. But ever since then, leading up to Valenzuela, he was going to have a fight lined up previously in the past, but I guess this is where he took the opportunity on short notice, and he went in there and he defeated Valenzuela. So now the question asked is Jose Valenzuela, is he not that good of a fighter anymore? And I disagree. I think Valenzuela, he's a tremendous fighter. He has great skills. He just needs to keep working on his abilities more. And I think that the time is now to start leveling up the competition a lot better. But I think honestly, this wasn't his fault. He was originally going to fight Jezreel Corrales, in which I think he should probably go ahead and fight him, and then fight Edwin De Los Santos in a rematch, because Corrales he had some travel issues coming into the fight. So I don't know what's going to end up happening for him, but I think that if he's able to get that fight with Jezreel Corrales again, and then go ahead and fight Edwin De Los Santos, I think that's a very good decision out of Valenzuela, because now that will help him get more acclimated, for him being more prepared for Santos, because I think Valenzuela, he could have stopped Santos, but the thing is that Santos, he's a bona fide boxer puncher, so he wasn't ready for that type of style with Santos, because he thought Santos, he was just a come forward Dominican type of fighter, but no, he really wasn't. He actually had amazing boxing skills on high display, and Rayo, he just didn't know what to do. So now that I think about it, if he had that same type of sloppy style against Corrales, he wouldn't he wouldn't lay down against Rayo, but Rayo, he wouldn't have been as hurt as we saw him against Santos. I think Rayo would have known to not be sloppy with his punches coming in so high, wide, and loopy, because now this makes up the Keyshawn Davis fight buildup look a lot more susceptible now, because it's now going to make Keyshawn Davis be like, oh, well, his slow ass got himself knocked out because look at what Santos did to him now. Santos, he'll just basically knock him out again in a rematch, man. And I would do the same thing to Jose Valenzuela. And my actual response to this is that Valenzuela did not come in educated in this fight. And if Valenzuela, if he wants to return the favor to the critics, which the disrespectful criticism that Rao's getting right now is uncalled for and very disrespectful. But I'll be the first one here to say that I've always been supporting Rayo ever since he came in to the boxing scene, and he's always been a great fighter. He does not leave himself in a bad position to lose a fight. I've always liked his development as a fighter, and I think this is only the beginning of where he will start his career at a better level. But I don't think he's a bad fighter. I think he's a great fighter. He just he was met with a very live dog, and I think that's where Valenzuela he will start to evolve a lot better. But I would say at the end of the day, it's all on him based off of how he returns. And I think the best opponent for him to come back is Jezreel Corrales. because I think Corrales is that perfect opponent for him to come back, refresh your mind, and then do the same thing over again, but come back in a much better, evolved state. And I think that's where Ryo, he will start to look way better coming into his next fight. But we will wait and we will wait and see, because this is a very highly anticipated, you know, um, um, evaluation of where we're going to see him. Does this mean that Ryo, he would get knocked out by Keyshawn Davis if they were to ever fight? No, I don't think Keyshawn Davis would do the same thing that De Los Santos would do. Keyshawn Davis is not that good of an inside fighter. I'll be the first one to say that. I think Keyshawn Davis, he's a tremendous outside pure boxer, puncher, but when it comes to the inside, if he gets hit with the same shots that Ryo got hit with by De Los Santos, Keyshawn Davis gets knocked out extremely bad. But if Ryo did the same thing to Keyshawn Davis like he did to his other opponents, in which he had stopped most of them 9 times out of 10, I think Keyshawn Davis would be brutally taken down. But I don't think Keyshawn Davis has this tremendous ultimate fear factor style that would just demolish Jose Valenzuela. I don't see this amazing style that Keyshawn Davis fans use to say that Jose Valenzuela will get knocked out. See, now, I did not agree with the referee stoppage. I thought Ray Corona was being stupid. I thought Valenzuela, he should have been given the benefit of the doubt to continue if he had a puncher's chance to hurt Corral, to hurt De Los Santos. But the fact that the referee didn't do that, I could see it from a medical standpoint that Ryo, he looked like he was that he was about to get knocked out. But the thing was that he hurt De Los Santos when Santos was coming in trying to mix it up with him, and then when Ryo dropped him in the second round of that fight, that was a very, very good assessment that Ryo did to gain success out of that fight. But now, the thing is that what does Ryo need to work on to be more successful in the rematch? And I think based off of what I see, from what I've seen out of this fight, out of all 3 rounds, Ryo needs to work on his defense, and he needs to start moving around the ring more, because if he does that, he could have definitely knocked out Santos. But Santos, he's a live dog because he's a pure boxer puncher. He has over 200 amateur fights, but he's a very, very destructive pure boxer, and that's something that I can easily respect out of him, because he actually learns from his fights. He actually gets better as the fight goes on. But now that I see how this fight is going to be built up now, I think Ryo needs to come back, in the ring with a good, heavy leveled, opponent. I think Jezreel Corrales is that right opponent for him. And then if he is successful, he should go ahead and get that rematch in with De Los Santos. See, now, for all the people that were talking smack about Ryo to say, oh, he's bad, he's garbage, they don't want to see like a rematch, they were never true fans to begin with. But for me, I'll be the first one to say with my own confidence that I believe Ryo is a better fighter than Santos. He did not come in with the right mindset in the first fight between their, exchanges. But I think, a more educated version of Ryo can defeat Santos. Santos, he's a very, very bona fide pure boxer puncher. But if he gets hit with the same shots that he got dropped with by Valenzuela heading into the late game, I think Valenzuela, he could stop him. So it's going to be interesting to see what this rematch could potentially be, if there ever is one. But I like to see a rematch as soon as possible, because if Ryo does not rematch this guy and he ends up facing him for a world title shot, don't be surprised if the same result happens, because I don't think Ryo will be successful in a potential rematch years later. And I think now would be the right time to get Santos out the way, defeat him while he's still growing, because they're both in a developmental stage right now, and they're very destructive punchers. And I think with Ryo, if he works on his defense and boxing ability more, he could stop Santos. He could very well stop him. He could do the same thing to Frank Martin. But I think him and Pitbull, I think that's going to be a very destructive fight one day. But I think, knowing that the PBC is lighting up all these lightweights up, they're lining them up for absolute wars. I think now we're starting to see the real truth on some of these fighters. But I think the perfect matchup for Ryo in the future, if he's able to get a Jezreel Corrales rematch and he ends up winning, go after Edwin De Los Santos, get that smoke out the way, and then if you're able to beat him, I would like to see him in there with a guy like, Isaac Pitbull Cruz, Zaur Abdulwalev, Jeremiah Nakathila. That'll be an absolute banger, even though that he's not really that good of a lightweight himself. But Michelle Rivera, oh my God, that'll be an absolute barn burner. Um, I like to see him and William Zapata, Miguel Burchell. I think he would sleep Burchell. Frank Martin, that's going to be a absolute mega fight one day, and I'm not really gonna say anybody else, that's really notable on this list. Maybe Rolly, but I think he would beat up Rolly pretty bad. Maybe Angel Fierro, but I think Fierro, he's not that good. I think he's kind of like destined to get stopped one day, but that's like that's neither here nor there. But either way, great performance by Edwin De Los Santos. I think he's gonna be set up to fight Isaac Pitbull Cruz next, which I'm gonna get to that fight right now, and I'll talk about that fight. Well, I'm not gonna talk about the Abner Mares fight. I didn't like this fight. I thought Miguel Flores beat Abner Mares. I didn't think Mares really did anything. He looked like total garbage, and I'm not going to talk about that fight. So, I'm officially skipping that fight. But let's talk about Mr. Pitbull Cruz, Isaac Pitbull Cruz, that got a stunning second round knockout victory over Zerdito, Eduardo Zerdito Ramirez. This fight was an absolute destruction. I actually thought Zerdito came into a very poor mindset coming into this fight. Um, I think how he came into this fight was that he thought that he could use the same style that he did at 130, and I thought that was a very, very poor style to come in with. And credit to Pitbull, because Pitbull, he made the right adjustment to stop Zerdito with a good shot. But the thing about this fight was that I did not like the fact that Zerdito stood right in front of Pitbull. Um, I thought this was a very dumb decision that he did, because it's like you jumped up all the way from 130 to 135, and Pitbull, he was naturally the, how should I say, I think he was naturally the smaller guy coming into the fight, but he had the more deadlier shot coming into the fight. So I mean, Zerdito, he's not a natural lightweight. I think, he should have just stayed at 130 and he would have been fine doing that. But I guess either he could not make the weight at 130, or he just wanted to just go after Pitbull because he thought he saw something in him where he was beatable to the point to beat him. So I don't know. I think Isaac Cruz kind of just put himself in a really good position to knock out Zerdito at the right place at the right time. So, uh, yeah, credit to Pitbull. He's a dog. He definitely has knockout power. But the thing about Pitbull is that he's only knocking out people that stay in front of him. I don't think that style lasts forever, because he can't do that against a guy like Gervonta Davis that has a fully healthy, physical, physical build coming into the fight, or physical health coming into the fight. I think the reason why Tank didn't blow him out the first time was because of his injured hand. But I think if he did not have that hand injured, he would have smoked Pitbull really bad. And I think that's really why Isaac Cruz was kind of being hyped up as this next great Mexican, Mike Tyson, to which I don't see that. I just see him as like a very hyper, aggressive like Marco Barrera mixed with a Juan Manuel Marquez. But the thing is that he's a lot more agile with his inside pressure. But Pitbull, he's a decent fighter. I don't think he's the greatest fighter, in the lightweight division. He actually said some good words after the fight that he wants a Devin Haney or Gervonta Davis rematch. So, but I just don't know why he wants Tank again. I don't see how that's gonna happen, because it's like you're gonna have this fight made for what, December? So Cruz is only gonna have like a basically like a 8-week camp. Like I would say, like what, starting in October. So let's just say if the fight is in December 31st. I'm just making something up. Like let's just say if the fight between him and Tank gets made on December 31st, you mean to tell me Gervonta's going to take all this time off, in which he hasn't been active since May? We're already we're already heading into the month of September. So you mean to tell me he wants to fight Pitbull in a rematch instead of going after a guy like, I don't know, like, I mean, there's nobody else like available, so I could see Tank's decision, of wanting Pitbull. But if you already beat him at the first time, and you said to the audience that you're not going to give him like another rematch because it's not necessary, then I wouldn't do that. I would just go ahead and fight, either Michelle Rivera, or probably fight, I don't know, maybe go after. I mean, there's really nobody else on here. I mean, he can't just fight no name. He has to fight somebody decent in the division. But I don't know, man. I really don't know, because Gervonta, he's running out of like opponents for us to like really give him credit. And I'm not going to talk about like the whole Gervonta Davis and Devin Haney saga, because I'm going to leave that to be settled on my YouTube channel. But I think based off of the opponents that we see now in the lightweight division, there's really nobody on here that Gervonta has left. Lomachenko, he's busy with Jermaine Ortiz, which I think Jermaine's gonna be successful, hopefully, to beat Loma. He can't fight Jojo Diaz. He's already held up. He already has a fight against William Zepeda. He cannot fight Maxie Hughes. That would be a terrible fight. Um, yeah, I don't know what else is really here. I think it's pretty much like set in stone for either Tank to get a rematch in with Cruz and then maybe fight Devin, which Devin Haney, for those of you that don't know, he tried forcing the WBA to mandate that fight between him and Tank Davis. So it's like I don't see why that fight can't be made. But it's like Gervonta, he's either avoiding Devin Haney, or he's just waiting to stay busy, and then if the opportunity sees itself to be fit to make a fight with Devin next, then that makes a lot more sense. But that's pretty much how I see it. I don't know what else I could really say other than just keep it moving. I mean, Tank needs a like not every fighter that Tank fights is going to sell, but a good sell to the low level casuals would be get a rematch in with Isaac Pitbull Cruz and then go after Devin Haney after he gets his business settled against George Kambosos. But if there's nobody at 135, I would say just go up to 140 and just fight somebody there. I mean, he could fight like a guy like Arnold Barbosa or fight whoever, but I mean, Gervonta doing that would just kind of be like a little bit weird, because people will say, oh, well, what about 135? But it's like, if Gervonta goes back up to 140 and then goes back down to 135, then I don't know. I think that should be the next move. If he can't, if Gervonta is going after Pitbull, then I mean that fight will sell in a rematch, because Pitbull now has like a lot of hype behind him, because everybody will say, oh, Isaac Cruz versus Tank, in a rematch, that fight's going to be a lot more destructive. In which I think that the fight will be destructive, but the thing is that where the rematch will be held, I would rather see the rematch be held in Baltimore because now that Tank, he already beat Isaac Cruz, it would make a lot better sense to have the rematch out in Baltimore, because Tank, he doesn't need to play by Pitbull's rules. He doesn't need to fight out in California again. But it's like it clearly shows that Pitbull, um, he doesn't really have anything else left to gain from a Tank fight other than if Gervonta knocks him out and demolishes him in a rematch, then it's basically over for Pitbull. I don't think his career's over. It's just that nobody's not going to really be hanging on to to his hype. But it's like we can easily see that Pitbull, he's only relevant because of Gervonta Davis. But that's just pretty much how I see it. But hold on, give me 1 second, and I'll just come right back. But yeah, just give me 1 second. Hold on, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Um, I think Gervonta Davis versus Pitbull Cruz in a rematch. It would only make sense if Gervonta has nobody else left to fight at lightweight, or if he wants to, he could just move up to super lightweight and then move back down to lightweight to get a fight in with Devin Haney. And I think that, oh wait, actually, yeah, like I keep forgetting Ryan Garcia, he's on the table too. So yeah, maybe like Tank and Ryan Garcia in December would make a lot better sense if that fight is on the table. But you know what? I personally wouldn't mind a fight between him and Montana Love. Go after Montana Love. I mean, Montana Love, he has a fight coming up in October, so he doesn't really have any. Well, actually, no, that's out in November. So, uh, yeah, Gervonta doesn't really have that many. Yeah, he does not have that many options on the table. I mean, he like he does at at 140. I think honestly, if Gervonta Davis wants to, I think he should go ahead and fight Alberto Puello. I think Tank versus Alberto Puello is a good ass fight. Not only because of Alberto Puello's style, but I think if Tank, if he could go ahead and beat Alberto Puello and then just vacate the title and go back down to 135 and then try to test a David Haney fight instead of facing Ryan Garcia, which I think that's what everybody wants to see. I think Ryan versus Tank is probably going to very well be set up, but I don't know, man. I think Ryan Garcia versus Gervonta is most likely going to happen, or Gervonta versus Cruz, Pitbull Cruz will happen, or Gervonta he should go ahead and beat Alberto Puello, because that will grant him more credibility to be a champion, to become an actual two division world champion, because he'll actually have the WBA belt, and then he could just move back down and fight Devin Haney, because I don't really see Tank doing anything else at 135. I think 140 is going to be his next move after 135 is cleaned out. But otherwise, if Tank's going to keep facing weak ass opposition that nobody doesn't want him to face, then it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't serve his purpose as a fighter to actually do the things that he needs to do. But that's pretty much it that I have for that. I don't know what else to really say about Pitbull. Good, decent performance. He did all right. I mean, it really wasn't like a actual like super duper shutout performance. He just caught Zerdito with a good left right hook combination, and he just slept him. He just absolutely demolished him. First man to actually knock him out. So good victory and keep it moving. So yeah, let's talk about the final fight, and then I'll get up out of here. Andy Ruiz Jr. versus Luis King Kong Ortiz. This was an absolute banger. I thought this was a very, very good fight. Um, it definitely respected itself to be a absolute super mega matchup, and I thought this fight could have easily went either way. But Andy Ruiz showed a lot of separation, in this fight. I didn't really see anything special. He didn't really look super duper amazing, but the fight itself could have easily been like a much more difficult fight if Luis Ortiz was a lot more younger coming into the bout, because I think the biggest problem was that Andy Ruiz, he really fought a aged out Luis Ortiz to the point where he didn't really have to do much, and he really showed himself to be very vulnerable to a lot of like very like low level sloppy punches that Ortiz landed on him. But I think if he was like a lot more fluid with his reaction time and he was a lot more youthful, like especially Luis Ortiz that fought Deontay Wilder the first time, um, I think Ortiz, he would have stopped Andy Ruiz. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this fight. Andy Ruiz had a lot more pressure coming into this fight than Luis Ortiz did, because I actually thought Luis Ortiz was going to beat Andy Ruiz. But the thing is that Andy Ruiz, he had a good style to provide to Luis Ortiz, but Luis Ortiz had the more, superior boxer type of style. Um, I think Andy Ruiz had a good B level performance. I would rate it B level, B minus level. But Luis King Kong Ortiz had a very difficult style for him. Andy's never fought a southpaw ever in his entire career. Luis Ortiz was arguably one of the most difficult southpaw fighters that Andy Ruiz has just fought, and I think this clearly showed a lot of levels to Andy's game. And I think what will show later in his career is that if he's able to make these adjustments against all the other dangerous heavyweights like Deontay Wilder, which could very well be next, which I will talk about Deontay Wilder's post fight thoughts on Andy Ruiz and his you know, little, integration that he had with Andy. I think it clearly shows that, you know, like it clearly shows that Andy Ruiz, he has a lot of work to do, and I think that it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen in the near coming future. He says he wants to fight 3-4 times a year, and I think it's going to show a lot of separation, and it's going to really show what Andy Ruiz is going to bring to the table. But as far as this fight goes, I didn't really see anything interesting out of Andy. I actually thought Andy could have lost this fight. I didn't really think Luis Ortiz really lost a lot of those rounds. That was like really weird judging that they had in that fight. But either way, Luis Ortiz did what he had to do to try to get the victory. But I think, honestly, like, I don't know, man. I just think based off of what I saw from Luis Ortiz, he just wasn't himself anymore. And I don't know if it's probably just the age. I think it is the age, and I think it's time for him to hang it up. But Luis Ortiz definitely had a very, how should I say? He had a very harsh night. He got dropped 3 times, in the entire fight. The second knockdown, I thought it was bullshit. In the third knockdown, I thought that was like a rabbit punch to the back of the head. That wasn't like a actual legal punch in my like opinion. I didn't think Andy really had all that power that he says he has. He had to hit Luis Ortiz with like a dirty shot to drop him. The first knockdown was a valid knockdown. He definitely had a good punch placement coming into it, but other than that, Luis Ortiz looked like he was like a more superior boxer, and I thought he banked in a lot of those rounds to defeat Andy. But yeah, Andy won a he won a unanimous decision victory, and I just didn't like how the scorecards were. If you guys want to know the scorecards for Andy Ruiz versus Luis King Kong Ortiz, one judge had it 114, 111. That was for Edward Hernandez Sr. Fernando Villarreal 113, 112, which I can agree with that. I don't know how they would have scored that. I mean, like, I just don't know how many people could really agree with that. I think that was a really weird judging that they had, but I think that was a really weird judging that they had. They probably would say that's like 7 rounds to five Andy, or like what if they either had like both rounds scored, like a 10-10 round, like maybe, but it's like I didn't see that much out of Andy to really like win that many rounds. But either way, I hope Luis Ortiz is doing fine. He had a great career, but I think it's time to just hang it up, man. I mean, Luis Ortiz, amazing Cuban school boxer, puncher, destructive southpaw, a lot of power. His only losses came to Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz, unfortunately. But yeah, man, I don't really know, what else to really say. I mean, I think Luis Ortiz, if he was way younger coming into the sport, he would have probably been a world champion a lot sooner. But knowing how Cubans come into the sport extremely late due to the political discrimination that they get for trying to leave their country and being hunted down as a target, yeah, it's messed up, man. But I hope Luis Ortiz, if he does continue to try to be on the path of becoming a champion, I just don't see it happening, man. I think it's just time to just hang it up. I mean, you had a tremendous career, and most people would consider him to be a champion, regardless of not having a belt, because it's like, the belts don't define you. It's your fighting attitude and your drive as a fighter outside of the sport that defines you. And I think he deserves that title to become a people's champion because he's just that good of a fighter where he doesn't let the sport control him. He controls himself outside of the ring to be a major figure to so many people. So salute to Luis King Kong Ortiz, and I don't know where he goes from here. I think it's time to hang it up. But salute to Andy Ruiz. Great job. Very very good. Competitive fight. But I just didn't agree with these scorecards. The other judge, Zacharian, had it scored the same way, 114, 111. So yeah, I don't know how these judges really thought Andy was winning the majority of the rounds, but that's pretty much it. I don't have that much else to really say. Be sure to be sure to go support the podcast. Links down below, and I will see you guys very very soon. We obviously have Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall, and then the beautiful queens, Alicia Baumgartner and Michaela Mayer. I'm definitely looking forward to that. So I'll see you guys very very soon. It's going to be a very good night of fights for women's boxing, and then the week after that we got Triple G versus Canelo. That's going to be a very good fight, and I can't wait for the undercard. It's going to be a pretty lit undercard too. You got Austin Williams on that card. You have Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez. You have Diego Pacheco on the card, and then who else is on the card? You have Ali Akmeda versus Gabriel Rosado. That'll be a good fight. And then you got Mark Castro, which that's gonna be hilarious to see him back in the ring. He hasn't been back in the ring since like what, May, but not bad. I don't care too much about Mark. I don't think he's going anywhere in his career. Anthony Herrera, he's back on the card. That's going to be interesting. He's going up against Devin McKinley. I think I've heard of him before, but I don't think I've really seen too much out of him. But that'll be interesting to see him back on the ring. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Uh, be sure to go like, rate, comment, and subscribe on this live stream. Share it. Do what y'all gotta do. And yeah, man, I got so much content to bring to you guys, and I hope I could bring my channel back to 4,000 subscribers, and more counting on the way. So I appreciate you guys for coming through. Uh, yeah, man, we got way more fights coming up, man. Don't forget Shakur Stevenson. Um, he is also coming back on the card against Robson Conceição. That's going to be a very, very destructive fight. I can't wait for that fight. You have Keyshawn Davis. That's a co-main event against Omar Tienda. I don't see this fight being a competitive fight. I think he's gonna knock out his opponent pretty easily. Henry Moncha LeBron, he's on the card. He's going up against Andy Vences. That's going to be very interesting. You got the anticipated rematch between Antoine Cobb versus Jalen Phillips. I can't wait for that. You have Mr. Orlando Capo Gonzalez against Misael Lopez. That's going to be a fun fight to watch. And who else you got? You have a lot of good fighters on this card. Um, you have Floyd Cashflow Diaz against Eduardo Diogo. He's a young 23-year-old Brazilian fighter. Decent fighter. But yeah, man, you got so many fights coming in September. And then October. October is going to be lit. You got Mr. Deontay, the Bronze Bomber, Wilder. Um, oh, man, I can't wait for that card. Let me tell you what this card is about, man. You have so many fights on this card. It's going to be lit all the way from the top to the bottom. Let me just tell you guys how amazing this card is, and it will be worth the pay-per-view against Robert Helenius. Man, you got Frank Sanchez against Carlos Negron. I just recently heard about that from Joe Goosen. You have Emmanuel Rodriguez versus Gary Antonio Russell. That's going to be a banger. And then you have Argentina's own versus Puerto Rico's own Jeremias Nicolas Ponce, 30-0, no losses, no draws against Subriel El Brownie Matias. Oh, man. This is for the IBF vacant super lightweight title of the world. Oh, if Subriel gets this victory, Puerto Rico will be in the building celebrating. Oh, man, that's going to be amazing, electric, monstrous, and hopefully Subriel Matias destroys Ponce, because I don't think Ponce is that good of a fighter. But I think Subriel, he's gonna come in and definitely smash him. And then obviously we got the co-main event and main event. You got Mr. Caleb Sweet Hands Plant against Anthony the Dog Darrell, and that's gonna be a destructive card. I can't wait for that card. That's gonna be absolutely amazing. There's just so much smoke on here, just from top to bottom. We don't even know how many more fights are got to be added to the card. So be sure to buy this pay-per-view, man. This is definitely going to be worth the money. And then obviously we got Mr. Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder going up against Robert Helenius. So man, I think Helenius, he's going to get stopped, bro. He's going to be sent back to the nether realm, bro. He's not coming back. But I think Wilder, it's going to be a very difficult test for him. But once Wilder figures him out, it's just game over, lights out. But that's pretty much it, what I got for y'all today, man. I'll have more videos posted up for the gaming side, so I'll be back on my grind right now. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. Be sure to support the podcast down below. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Peace out. Salute to the mighty LDBC. And salute to the TWT. Salute to all the realest channels on YouTube. Salute to I Am Trail Well. Salute to Bruce Gas. Salute to Star Destroyer 809. Appreciate all you guys for coming through. Can't wait for the next one. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace out. Have a good day. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.